Anyway, so to continue with the theme of, kick-ass female characters, the webtoon we're going to talk about today is called Beware the Villainess. Now, I'm a big fan of like isekai genre, webtoon or anime, and this one is isekai kind of. Not kind of, it is. So, a woman dies, gets reincarnated as the villainess in one of her favorite romance fantasy novel. And she does not want to be the villainess because, in those type of stories, the villainess always has a bad ending. Either she dies or gets, like, exiled to somewhere terrible and has a terrible life, blah, blah, blah. So she starts to try and change her life, change things for the better, so she's not the villainess anymore. And part of that is first ending her engagement with the prince before he meets the heroine and falls in love. And really, the prince was a terrible person to begin with, which I'll talk about later when I talk about the characters. But this story is pretty enlightening about some things if you're the type to read fantasy romance novels or just novels in general where there's a love story. But before I get more into that, let's talk about the characters and their personalities, and then I'll be back. Okay, so here's our villainess, Melissa Fodderbrat. Fodderbrat? Whatever. Anyway, so originally the character before she gets reincarnated is kind of terrible human being, but this new Melissa kind of takes no shit from anyone. She becomes really skilled with a sword to protect herself, even learns magic and things like that, and she's just really, really cool. Next we have Nine, and he's a werewolf that was found on the street by Melissa. He was abandoned by the werewolf clan. He's been abandoned since he was a child, and he was nearly dying on the street, and Melissa finds him, takes him back to the mansion, cleans him up, gives him a job and things like that. So he's very loyal to Melissa, and he's such a cinnamon roll, y'all. He's so cute. I can't. And I ship him and Melissa like hardcore. Next we have Yuri Elizabeth, and in the story that Melissa's reincarnated into, she is the main heroine. She's the one all the other men are going after, but it's really stressful for her. She absolutely hates it. She knows she's in a book, and Melissa kind of helps to change things for her and to make her life her own. So she kind of actually falls in love with Melissa, which is really funny considering that her name is Yuri. And if you know, then you know. Alright, so let's get started with the guys who fall in love with Yuri. First is Ian Basilius. He's originally Melissa's fiance. Melissa ends the engagement because he's a terrible human being and just keeps cheating on her. So she ends it. And he then meets Yuri, falls madly in love, but is like unhealthy, like really unhealthy about it. So Melissa kind of tells him about himself. The next one to fall in love with Yuri is Jack Fortin. He's kind of head of the werewolf clan at the moment, but he's very rough around the edges and kind of forceful. And again, Melissa has to get him together because she does not appreciate him treating Yuri the way he does. The next man that's like obsessed with Yuri is Jake Fodderbrat, and the way he expresses his quote-unquote love is to stalk Yuri. And he says he's doing it to protect her, but really she never asked him to do it, and it's really creepy. Like, he takes pictures and stuff of her. So again, Melissa comes in and tells him about himself, and it's, as usual, really glorious. Last guy we have is Peacock Melody, and I kind of feel like he's the worst. He's a rich merchant, and he's very full of himself, and he thinks he's like the smartest person ever, and he tries to actually like possess Yuri like she's a thing, and tries to pretty much imprison her so she's always with him and things like that. And of course, Melissa comes, saves the day, and tells him about himself, and also hopefully gets him arrested because he's crazy. Like, oh my god. Alright, so those were the characters from the webtoon, and like I said, not like I said, but as if you noticed when like when I talked about some of the male characters, they all kind of had a toxic trait. And I think that's something we never really notice in novels a lot of the time. Like we think, oh, it's so romantic, he wants to always spend time with her, or he wants to shower her with gifts. And then you're thinking, well, if someone actually did that in real life, you would be really creeped out. Like you wouldn't think that's romantic or okay. So I think it kind of, and this is what happens to Melissa. Like she starts to realize, oh, when I read the book, I thought he was really romantic and stuff, but now that I'm here and I'm seeing it firsthand, he's toxic as hell, or he's really creepy. Like what the, like she starts to realize, oh, this is not okay. And I think it kind of, I don't know if it's meant to comment on how media portrays things like relationships, but or like how it desensitizes us to certain things. But it does kind of make you think of that when you're reading it. You're like, oh, wait, yeah, no, that's not okay. Like, why am I okay reading this in a book when I know in person, like, if this happened to me in real life, I would not be okay, you know? Or somebody might argue, well, it's the character. If it was that character before. No, and you wouldn't want that character to do that to you. You know you wouldn't. So don't even try. It's because they're fictional that you're okay with it. But if it was a real person, you would not be okay with it. And this webtoon really kind of drives that point home in a lot of ways, and which I found very interesting. So definitely check it out. You can read it on Tapas. Tapas is a little different from webtoon. You don't get free episodes for every webtoon. This one you would have to get ink, but there's a lot of opportunities to get this ink. Either you can buy it, or there's a lot of free things you can do to get it. Sometimes they have read 3 episodes of this story, you get bonus ink and things like that. So it's not hard to get ink. It's just a little annoying. But anyways, yeah, like I said, Beware the Villainess. Check it out. Let me know what you think. Okay. Like, subscribe.